Chapter 2183. Tears rolled down Ning Yaoguang's cheeks. She shook her head lightly and slowly raised the long sword in her hand. "Asu, we had a deal. Whether we live or die, we will not be separated. If you live, I live. If you are in the rootless tree, I will also find a rootless tree to rest on. If you die, how can I live alone?" "No! Yaoguang, no!" The rootless wood on the ground shook violently, as if Su Iluan wanted to rush out. But because of Ning Su's magic power, he was firmly sealed inside. "Kill me, Ning Su. Kill me if you have the ability. I am a monster, and my hands are stained with the blood of countless human cultivators. But what does all of this have to do with Yao Guang? Kill me and let Yao Guang live. Just take it as I'm begging you." The scene of them pledging their lives to each other would move most people. However, Ning Su's face remained cold. He watched as Ning Yaoguang slowly placed the sword on his neck and cut open his blood vessels. Su Iluan's blood-sobbing cries and pleas could be heard. However, he seemed to have a heart of stone and was not moved in the slightest. Ning Yaoguang's throat was cut open and blood gushed out. Her body fell limply to the ground. But even at the end of her life, her gaze was still glued to the rootless wood. Her pale lips gently opened and closed, reciting the two words that were deeply engraved in her soul. "Asu, Yaoguang, ah, jade light, Yaoguang." Black gas gushed out of the rootless wood along with the blood. Su Iluan's voice became more and more shrill, like a crazed demon. But it also contained endless misery, despair, and sorrow. "Yaoguang, someone save Yaoguang. Heavens, what did she do wrong for you to treat her like this? Ning Su, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you." There were no ripples in Ning Su's eyes. When he heard Su Iluan's words, disgust and coldness flashed across his face. He raised his sword and slashed at the rootless tree. However, at this moment, a sword light flashed and Ning Su's long sword was deflected. For figures rushed down like lightning. 3 of them stood in front of the rootless wood, while the last one quickly rushed in front of Ning Yaoguang, who was on the verge of death. The rootless wood, or Su Iluan, seemed to have discovered Mu Yen. His heart was filled with despair, like a drowning man who had caught a duckweed. Jun Mayan, Yaoguang, quickly save Yaoguang. As long as Yaoguang lives, I'm willing to pay any price." Mu Yen didn't have the time to pay attention to him. Her fingers flew, and dozens of silver needles pierced into Yao Guang's body. The blood that was gushing out like a fountain slowly stopped. Mu Yen took out a pill and stuffed it into Yao Guang's mouth. Raising her voice, she said, "Instructor Yao Guang, hang in there, hang in there. Do you hear me? Deputy Dean Su is calling for you. If you die, do you think he can live alone? Can you still recognize me? I am Jun Mayan. If I can save you once, I can save you again. Do you trust me?" Yao Guang's eyelids twitched, and the pulse that had almost disappeared slowly reappeared. Mu Yen breathes a sigh of relief. She takes out the Tian Mo Chin and gently plays it. This time they arrive too late. Ning Yaoguang didn't hold back in the slightest. She cut her own throat, and the blood was almost drained. Mu Yen could stop the bleeding, but she couldn't snatch back the vitality that she had lost. The only way to save her was to exchange vitality for vitality. Exchange lifespan for lifespan. Chapter 2184. Benevolence of the Saint. "Mu Yen, what are you doing?" Ning Su's expression had not changed at all when facing Ning Yaoguang and Su Iluan, but now it changed. "Get away from these 2 demons." Mu Yen was playing the guqin and had no time for him. Luo Yu smiled and said, "How can we get away? These 2 are the Starry School's teachers." Lung Yuma stabbed her sword into the ground. The Starry School's motto is that whoever dares to bully our people will be beaten to death. Ning Su's face darkened. "Don't you know that the rootless wood contains demons? Whether they are demons or not doesn't stop them from being our teachers. As the saying goes, a teacher for a day is a father for life. Your father accidentally fell to the demon. Are you going to abandon him? That can't be. This doesn't meet the standards of the new socialist youth." As Luo Yu spoke, She blurted out the words that Bai Xie always kept on saying. Ning Su's frown deepened and his voice became colder. So, you've decided to protect the demons? Ling Yuxing, who was usually quiet, suddenly said, do we only judge whether one is a human or a demon by what technique they practice? Demons might not be able to control themselves, or they might be forced to do so. Humans could also be insatiably greedy. They were even more disgusting and frightening than demons and ghosts. To us, there is only good and evil, not human, demon, or demon. Or is it that Prince Jueming has killed countless demons in his life, so he feels that as a human, he is better than demons? Ning Su's gaze flickered, but it was only for an instant before he immediately regained his cold and merciless look. You're making excuses. The cultivation techniques that the devil race cultivates are all crooked and evil. They can infinitely magnify the 7 emotions and 6 desires of living beings. Once they fall to the demon, killing and madness will become their nature. How can they be controlled by reason? If we don't kill one demon, we may implicate thousands of innocent living beings. You're still young and don't understand these things. I won't argue with you. Now move away, or else don't blame me for being rude. Lung Yuma sneered. You're full of reasons, but I don't like them. Even if we have to die, we'll protect him until the very end. Ning Su took a deep breath, and an inconspicuous knife slowly appeared in his hand. Very well. Then today I will teach you all what the consequences of colluding with the devil race and associating with devils are. The auras of both sides were on the verge of exploding. Just then, the sound of Mu Yan's zither suddenly stopped. Ning Yaoguang slowly opens her eyes, and in a trance, she sees Mayan's face. She murmurs, Miss. Mu Yan didn't hear what she was saying and asked softly, Teacher Yaoguang, what are you talking about? Ning Yaoguang, on the other hand, suddenly woke up and sat up, looking around. When he saw that Ning Su was facing off against the members of the Xiaoyao squad, his expression immediately changed. Mu Yan, quick, take everyone and run. Get out of here. This has nothing to do with you. Mu Yan pats Ning Yaoguang's hand, motioning for her to calm down. Only then did he stand up and look at Ning Su. Big brother Ning, I heard everything you said just now. You want to kill Vice Dean Su because you're worried that his demonic nature will enter his soul and kill the innocent? She smiled slightly and picked up the rootless wood from the ground, casually shaking it. That's completely groundless fear. Ning Su frowned, a hint of irritation appearing in his eyes. Mu Yan, I don't want to make a move against you, but exterminating demons and protecting justice is my, Ning Su's, wish. Chapter 2185. Big Brother Ning, let me finish. Mu Su continued unhurriedly. In fact, Vice Dean Su had already died half a year ago. In order to save Master Yao Guang, his demonic body was completely burned, and his demonic seed was completely extinguished. Even his soul was only left with this broken strand. Even if it was nurtured in the rootless wood, it would take at least a few decades to condense a true soul. I'm sure Big Brother Ning knows very well that the rootless wood is a neutral and peaceful treasure. If the soul is nurtured for a few decades, even if there is demonic energy left, it will eventually be eliminated by the spiritual power of the rootless wood. So after a few decades, it will definitely be a spirit body, not a demonic body. Mu Yan looked at the somewhat lifeless Ning Su and blinked, since the current Vice Dean Su is harmless, and doesn't even have the power to resist. He will become a spirit again after a few decades. On what basis do you say that he is a demonic creature that will harm humans? For a moment, the small island was deathly silent. Ning Yaoguang couldn't come back to her senses. But could it be calculated like this? But thinking about it, it didn't seem wrong. Guaranteeing that Su Iluan wouldn't harm humans. Ning Su definitely wouldn't believe it. But Mu Yan used an irrefutable fact to prove that Su Iluan didn't have the ability to do evil. When he had the ability to do evil, he would definitely return to a human soul. In this way, if he wasn't a demon, he naturally wouldn't be a target of young Master Jueming. Ning Su was a bit confused, but he was once a demon. He must have killed innocent people. So, didn't he pay the price for what he did back then? Mu Yan continues to interrupt him with a smile. Think about it. a normal person with a mind of their own, let you lie in a cold log for decades, and your lover is right in front of you, but you can't hug or kiss her. Others eat and drink well, but he can't taste anything and can only watch. If Master Yao Guang falls in love with another man, he can't do anything about it. Isn't that tragic enough? Ning Yaoguang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, the killing intent on Ning Su's body was gradually dissipating. This was the first time that Ning Su's conviction to kill the demon race was shaken. And it was Mu Yen who affected him. This made Ning Su's mind involuntarily churn with memories from a long time ago that he wanted to forget. He furrowed his brows and gritted his teeth. Even if there's only a 1 in 10,000 chance, I can't give the monsters a chance to rise again. Mu Yen raises her eyebrows. He hadn't expected that Ning Su would still not give up on killing Su Iluan even after he had said so much. This big brother Ning, or rather, the Ning clan, just how deep was their hatred towards the demon clan? Mu Yen sighs. Looks like I have no choice but to use my trump card. Mu Yen waved her hand into the space, and a delicate and adorable boy who looked like a little elf appeared by her side. Even without Mayan's signal, Xiao Bao obediently runs to Ning Su's side and tugs at his clothes. Uncle, can you not kill Uncle Su? Ning Su lowers his head and sees that small face that's 70 to 80% similar to Mayan's, and those big watery eyes looking at him. His entire person is petrified. Especially that uncle. He opens his mouth, and after a long while, he says in a hoarse voice, "You, what did you call me?" Xiao Bao's little face is taut. His voice is crisp, and his entire person is cute and adorable. Baidu search, UC Book League website, let you experience the latest and fastest chapters, all updated in seconds. Chapter 2186. Mom said you're her new big brother. Mom's big brother is Xiao Bao's uncle. Are you Xiao Bao's uncle? In the face of such a cute baby, could anyone say no? Absolutely not. Anyway, Ning Su's entire body froze. He didn't dare to move, afraid that he'd pull his clothes. Just like that, he'd dropped the cute baby. Although he'd seen Xiao Bao in Cloud City and thought the baby was pretty, he felt completely different before and after. Mu Yen quickly threw the rootless wood to Ning Yaoguang and waved at her. Mu Yen quickly throws the rootless wood to Ning Yaoguang and waves at her. Everyone in the Ning clan knew that the young master of the main line, Ning Su, was inflexible and didn't have any emotions. Everyone in the Ning clan knew that the young master of the direct line of descent, Ning Su, was inflexible and did not have any emotions. This was also why Ning Yaoguang fell into despair the moment she saw Ning Su and chose to commit suicide without hesitation. But who could tell her who was the panicking man being grabbed by a baby's clothes? Ning Yaoguang only snapped out of her daze when she saw Ning Su. She hurriedly flew away from the island. It was only when the rootless wood swayed that Ning Yaoguang came back to her senses. She hurriedly flew away from the small island at light speed. During this time, Ning Su glanced at their backs as they left. He seemed to want to make a move, but Xiao Bao was pulled back and stumbled. The Xiaoyao sect looked at each other and couldn't help but sigh. The Xiaoyao sect looked at each other and couldn't help but sigh. In terms of invincibility, it was still their precious disciple nephew. From the old to the young, from humans to demons, from demons to spirits, no one could block their precious disciple nephew's cute attacks. Starry School, Headmaster's office. Meng Baichuan was cultivating when he saw the unlatched window suddenly open and a figure flipped in. After entering, she couldn't help but look back to make sure no one had seen her before heaving a sigh of relief. Meng Baichuan looked at the beautiful girl's sneaky behavior and couldn't help but come back to his senses. Jun Mu Yen, what's the matter in the middle of the night? Mu Yen closed the window and smiled sheepishly at Meng Baichuan. Principal Meng, may I ask if you have a spot to enter the Woodfern's secret realm? Meng Baichuan jumped in fright. The Woodfern's secret realm? Who's going there? Absolutely not. Every time the Woodfern's secret realm opened, countless people died inside. It was said that there were incomparably powerful, high-level vicious beasts inside. Basically, every heavenly treasure had a vicious beast guarding it. Even if you are lucky enough to escape from the claws of the vicious beasts, The competition between cultivators will only become more bloody and cruel. 100 years ago, an elder of the Starry School went there once because he was quite powerful. However, he never appeared again after that. That place is definitely not a place for fun. Don't go there easily. Mu Yen touched her chin and her eyes lit up. Does this mean that the Starry School really has a place? Where's the woodfern token? Where is it? When Meng Baichuan saw how excited she was, his eyes widened in disbelief. Why you? Don't tell me you're thinking of going by yourself? Don't joke around. Only nascent soul cultivators can enter the woodfern secret realm. You're only in the golden core realm. Yes, that's right. You're only in the golden core realm. You won't be able to enter even if you wanted to. Thinking of this, Meng Baichuan heaved a sigh of relief. Baidu search for the UC Book League website and let you experience the latest and fastest chapters. Chapter 2187. Meng Baichuan knew that these guys from the Alcade branch were extremely daring. Thankfully, only nascent soul cultivators were allowed to enter the woodfern secret realm. Otherwise, these people might really run away regardless of the danger. Mu Yen beamed and said, Dean, you don't have to worry about this. Give me the woodfern token, and I'll think of something else. Meng Baichuan jumped up from his chair. Classmate Mu Yen, what are you doing? Is he really going to the woodfern secret realm? No, absolutely not. That place was really dangerous. Every year, the major clans and sects of the Ziyun world would send their elites into the Ziyun world. Even so, less than 50% of them would return alive. Furthermore, there would be quite a few leaving Aperture Realm cultivators among them. How could a Golden Core Realm young lady like you possibly return safely? No, I will never agree to it. Just give up. Mayan thinks, what's wrong with Yuanying? This young lady kills a dozen of them without hesitation. So what if it was an out-of-body experience? You're speaking as if you haven't killed them before. However, she couldn't reveal the fact that she had killed a leaving Aperture Realm cultivator. He had no choice but to plead with Meng Baichuan over and over again, assuring him that he had many ways to escape and that he wouldn't die so easily. In the end, Meng Baichuan was at his wit's end because of her pestering. He sighed softly and said, It's really hard on you, the prodigies, to stay in Constellation. What Constellation can give you is too little. Student Mu Yen, when you return from the Woodfern Secret Realm, leave the Azure Blue Realm and head to the Violet Cloud Realm. Mayan stares blankly at Meng Baichuan. Meng Baichuan smiled at her. I'm definitely not speaking out of anger. The Azure Blue Realm is too small and too weak. It has long since lost the stage for you to display your abilities. Only the Purple Cloud Realm is a place where you can spread your wings and soar. You have already caused enough commotion in the Azure Blue Realm, but in the Purple Cloud Realm, there are still many people who don't even know of the existence of the Unfettered Seven. It's time to let the name of the Xiao Yao Seven resound throughout the entire Ziyun boundary. Let them taste the fear of being dominated by Yi Liangqin and Jun Mayan. Cough. What did he mean by letting them taste the fear of being dominated by Yi Liangqin and Jun Mayan? He made it sound like she was a demon. No, you are. Meng Baichuan's voice turned gentle as he continued. If you feel tired one day, you're welcome to come back anytime. The gates of the Starry School will always be open for you. Mu Yen feels as if her heart is soaked in soft, warm water, soft and soft. He was reluctant to leave, but he knew that he had to leave. Why did they insist on returning to the Starry School after the Soaring Dragon became famous? They clearly knew that there was no one in the Starry School who could teach them, and no one who could provide them with pills or materials. Perhaps it was because here they could experience the feeling of home, right? Mu Yen took the woodfern token from Meng Baichuan and gently caressed it with her fingers. The token looked very old, and there were bloodstains on it that could not be washed away. After the seniors of the Starry School had died in the Woodfern Secret Realm, they had been sent back by the guardians of the Secret Realm. The bloodstains on it were proof of how dangerous the Woodfern Secret Realm was. But if a cultivator wanted to become stronger, didn't they have to fight against the heavens? If she shrank back because she was afraid of danger, how could she become stronger? How could she protect the people important to her? Baidu search for the UC Book League website and let you experience the latest and fastest chapters. Chapter 2188. How long would it take for her to be qualified to stand by Di Mingju's side? Mayan solemnly thanks Meng Baichuan, and only then does she ride her sword in the direction of Yaoguang branch. Her heart ached at the thought of Di Mingju. How long has it been since that bastard last appeared? Could it be that he had forgotten about me because he was in the Shoshin continent? Junior sister, what's that in your hand? Mayan was lost in her thoughts when she heard Leng Yuma's voice, startling her. She looked up and saw Leng Yuma and Luo Yu waiting at the entrance of the arcade branch. The two were about to continue asking questions when Mayan hurriedly covered their mouths. Mu Yen quickly covered the mouths of the two people and dragged them to a remote corner. Keep your voice down. If you wake up Big Senior Brother and Big Brother Ning, I will make you look good. Leng Yuma and Luo Yu looked at each other, then suddenly realized the Woodfern token. Why was Mayan so careful to look for Meng Baichuan like a thief? It was because she mentioned going to the Woodfern secret realm after returning to the arcade branch. Although Golden Core cultivators weren't allowed to enter, Mayan felt that she would be able to find a way to sneak in as long as she got the token. Leng Yuma and Luo Yu, who were afraid that life would be too boring, immediately clamored to go with her. The result was obvious. The three were mercilessly suppressed and taught a lesson by Yun Ruhan. Yun Ruhan's expression was unprecedentedly solemn. She glared at Mayan and said, I heard from Master that even nascent soul cultivators who enter the Woodfern secret realm have a high casualty rate. Even leaving Aperture Realm cultivators die. Are you tired of living? A Golden Core cultivator wants to enter the Woodfern secret realm? Mayan snorted, so what if they're leaving body stage? Didn't I kill them all the same? I can testify. Luo Yu quickly raised her hand. Leng Yuma gloomily said, this old lady has never met an leaving body stage cultivator. It's too unfair. Yun Ruhan immediately felt a headache coming on. I'm warning you three. Behave yourselves. No one is allowed to enter the Woodfern secret realm, and no one is allowed to ask young Master Ning for the Woodfern token. If I find out that you still dare to take the risk, I'll have no choice but to inform Junior Uncle. Leng Yuma said, damn, eldest senior brother, you're still complaining? Yun Ruhan glared at her until she shrank her neck before turning to leave. Luo Yu and Leng Yuma were a little resentful. But knowing that Golden Core cultivators weren't allowed to enter the Woodfern secret realm, and the dangers within were unimaginable, they could only give up on the idea. Who would have thought that after they dispelled the idea, Mu Yen would actually take another path and run off to find Meng Baichuan? No, that's not fair. If you want to go, let's go together. That's right, sixth senior sister, you're too much. Don't tell me you want to leave us behind and go to the Woodfern secret realm yourself? Mu Yen has a headache. Just as she is about to speak, she suddenly feels a chill on her back. Then, Ning Su's cold voice sounded, Mu Yen, are you really going to the Woodfern secret realm? Mayan pointed at the two troublemakers and turned around with a bitter face. Big brother Ning, I'll tell you the truth. There's something in the Woodfern secret realm that I must obtain. So no matter how dangerous it is, I must go. Not to mention, we're cultivators. How can we retreat just because there's danger? Big brother Ning, you want to hunt down the devil race. Don't tell me that just because the strength of the devil race is stronger than you decided to retreat? Baidu search for the UC Book League website and let you experience the latest and fastest chapters. Chapter 2189. Under the Night Sky. Ning Su looked at her expressionlessly and said coldly, if I say one thing, you're worth 10. Mu Yen was a little intimidated by his stare and was about to hide the Woodfern token. Ning Su's rigid expression suddenly softened. He sighed helplessly and dotingly. He reached out and patted her head. I really can't do anything about you. Under the shocked gazes of Mu Yen and Leng Yuma, Ning Su blushed. He whispered, return the token. The aura on the Starry School token is too weak. You'll become the main target of the beasts. I'll give you the Woodfern token tomorrow. I want 3. Luo Yu immediately said. Ning Su paused. All right, 3. The 3 of them were overjoyed. Long live Brother Ning. After agreeing to give the woodfern token, Ning Su did not leave immediately. Instead, he sent Mu Yen back to her room. Luo Yu and the others guessed that Ning Su had something to say to Mu Yen and did not follow. After entering the room, Mu Yen said sincerely, "Brother Ning, thank you." Whether it was letting instructor Yao Guang go or giving her the woodfern token, they were both against Ning Su's wishes. And a person like Ning Su, one look and one could tell that he was the kind of person who would not break his own principles even if he died. But in just 2 days he had broken his own rules twice for Mu Yen. Ning Su's expression was a little dazed. After a long while he murmured softly, "Once upon a time, someone treated me very, very well. I always wanted to repay her when I grew up." But then, his expression suddenly twisted as he thought of something. The bone-chilling hatred and depth of hatred made his originally handsome and solemn face appear somewhat sinister. Mu Yen was startled and subconsciously stepped back, calling out in a low voice, "Big Brother Ning?" Ning Su suddenly came back to his senses. Seeing Mu Yen step back in shock, he instinctively reached out to pull her back. "Don't be afraid of me. Don't hate me." But halfway through his sentence, Ning Su's hand touched Mu Yen's clothes. The temperature in the room suddenly dropped to an extreme. Ning Su, who was already distracted, seemed to be hit by something. His eyes widened and his body swayed. Then he collapsed. "Big Brother Ning?" Mu Yen was shocked and quickly went over to help him. But at this moment, his body was suddenly pulled into a scorching embrace. A certain person's voice sounded in his ears, "Big Brother Ning, are you calling me that affectionately? Yen, are you very worried about him?" Mu Yen suddenly stiffens. His nose was filled with a familiar scent. She slowly turned around, and a familiar face suddenly came into view. Di Mingju. He had finally appeared. Di Mingju holds his wife. The joy of reuniting after a long separation is about to be washed away by the jealousy and vinegar that fills his heart. Who told him to have just arrived, and he wanted to hug Mayan to ease his longing for her. In the end, he saw an adulterer that he had never seen before enter Mayan's room in the middle of the night, and even tried in vain to touch his Yen. The most important thing is that Yen actually calls this adulterer Ning, Big Brother. Jun Shangdaran is immediately overcome by jealousy and anger. Without thinking, he uses his soul pressure to knock the adulterer unconscious. Now, facing Mu Yan's glare, Jun Shangdaran, who had always been omnipotent and would never go back on his word, is somewhat lacking in confidence. But he still keeps his face taut, and coldly says, "Why are you glaring at Ben Jun? Knocking your big brother Ning unconscious, you're distressed." Baidu search UC Book League website let you experience the latest and fastest chapters. All updates in seconds. Chapter 2190. Before he could finish his words, Jun Shangdaran has already been grabbed by his lapel and dragged forward. Then soft lips, with endless longing, are pressed against him. Di Mingju only feels that at that moment, all the jealousy, and anger have been completely washed away. What remains is only a deep-rooted love and a burning desire. He raises his hand and throws the unconscious Ning Su out of the room. Then he picks up Mu Yen, presses her against the wall, and deeply kisses her. The sunlight shines in from the window, and Mu Yen suddenly awakens from her sleep. She looks around, but she finds that her clothes are intact, and there's no one around her. The radiance on her face instantly dims, and disappointment surges into her heart like a tide. Could it be that everything last night was just a dream because she missed Di Mingju too much? Or could it be that after Di Mingju came, he left in a hurry? Just as she is feeling depressed, the fragrance of food suddenly bursts into her nose. This smell is refreshing and makes people's appetites move. Moreover, it's clearly not the food that fifth brother is good at. Mu Yen quickly gets up and follows the fragrance. Soon, she sees the scene of Jun Shangdaran busy in front of the stove in the small kitchen. There's also Xiao Bao wearing an apron. His little face is taut as he puts the dishes on the table, and he carefully uses magic to prevent them from getting cold. Mu Yen blinks. How long has it been since she saw such a scene? It seems like when she was in the Yenwu continent, the aloof Dijun also didn't care about condescending to wash her hands and make soup for her. Nyang Qin. Xiao Bao sees Mu Yen in the blink of an eye. His taut little face immediately blooms with a smile, and his blue eyes shine brightly as he pounces over. It's just when Mu Yen wants to reach out and hug him. Xiao Bao hurriedly stops and shyly takes 2 steps back. Xiao Bao is dirty. I can't hug Nyang Qin. Xiao Bao was busy just now, not only helping to warm the dishes. He also helped to wash vegetables, pick vegetables, and chop firewood, getting dirty all over. In fact, if he and his father wanted to do these things, they could do it with a wave of their hands. But Xiao Bao likes to busy himself like this, preparing meals for Nyang Qin together with his father. Whenever he thought of his mother eating happily, his heart would soften, as if it was soaked in honey. As soon as Xiao Bao finished speaking, he was pulled over by Mu Yen. She hugged him and kissed him heavily. The dirt on the apron naturally stains Mayan's clean clothes. Xiao Bao frowned like a little adult, his face filled with annoyance. Xiao Bao dirted Nyang Qin's clothes. It's just a piece of clothing. I'll just buy some more. Mu Yen kissed Xiao Bao a few more times without a care. How can it be more important than kissing my baby? Only then did Lil Treasure's tightened eyebrows relax. His little face was flushed, and his eyes were filled with happiness. Only then does Mayan let go of Xiao Bao and slowly walks behind Dimingju. She then reaches out and gently hugs the busy man. Humph! An unhappy snort sounded. Madam finally remembers that there is a person called Ben Jun? Mu Yen presses her face against his back and softly says, Yenyu? Dimingju's body slightly stiffens. This is the first time Mu Yen has taken the initiative to call him by his courtesy name. The voice is so soft and mellow, as if it's filled with infinite affection, and also like a spoiled child full of dependence. It makes his heart soften into a ball. Dimingju composes himself. After a good while, he says in a slightly hoarse voice, Don't think that Ben Jun won't settle accounts with you like this. Chapter 2191. Yenyu, Yenyu, Yenyu. There's a sizzling sound coming from the stove under his hand, and a burnt smell comes out. Jun Shangdaren's dish finally can't be stir-fried anymore. He reaches out to grab something behind him, and abruptly turns around. The two people's positions change. Dimingju presses him against the stove, his voice unbelievably hoarse. Jun Mayan, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you? At the side, Xiao Bao covers his eyes with his small hands, but secretly peeks through the gaps between his fingers to watch the scene. The expression on his small face is both surprised and a bit of a smile. Mu Yen is being watched by Jun Shangdaren's aggressive gaze that seems like it's about to burn, but her expression is still lazy. But those eyes are like a bottomless abyss. They're so deep that you can't see the bottom, but you can vaguely see the man's reflection. He sees Mu Yen gently grabbing Dimingju's collar, hooking it downwards. Her voice is as light as the wind. It's because I like you too much, so I want to call you more. There's a snapping sound in Dimingju's mind. He doesn't even think about it as he presses down on the back of Mu Yen's head. He's about to grab those restless lips and fiercely kiss them. However, a pair of smooth, jade-like hands suddenly press against his lips, stopping his movements. Mu Yen says with a smile, Xiao Bao is still watching. Jun Shang, as a father, how can you be so restless? Go. Room. Dimingju grits his teeth. But he hears Mu Yan's voice becoming more and more full of smiles. That won't do. My husband and son, they've worked so hard to prepare breakfast for me, and I still haven't eaten it. Saying that, she reaches out to grab Dimingju's lapel and gives it a light push. She conveniently breaks away from his shackles and arrives at the dining table. Xiao Bao, come. What do you want to eat? Nyang Qin will give it to you. Xiao Bao's face is red. He glances at Dimingju and immediately scampers over to Mu Yan's side. He says in all seriousness, Nyang Qin, what do you want to eat? Xiao Bao will give it to you. Mu Yen smiles from ear to ear and kisses his face again. Nyang Qin's little baby is still the best. Not like some people who come and go as they please. Once they leave, they don't even say a word for several months. Xiaobao, am I right? Mayan's brainless Huabao nods without the slightest hesitation and sells out his father. Daddy is bad, Xiaobao is good. So Nyangqin loves Xiaobao the most. Di Mingju. He really wanted to crush these two heartless brats to death. Although she's already mentally prepared, hearing that Di Mingju will soon return to the Shoshin continent, Mayan is still very depressed. How long would these miserable days of living apart last? The reluctance and longing in Di Mingju's heart is 100 times stronger than Mayan's. He even has the impulse to disregard Mayan's future and pull up the seedlings to help them grow, bringing her directly back to the Shoshin continent. But in the end, this crazy and selfish idea is still suppressed by his love for Mu Yan. Di Mingju tightly hugs the person in his arms. Gritting his teeth, he says, there are still some matters to finish in the Shoshin continent. Once they're done, Ben Jun will stay here to accompany. However, before he could finish, Mu Yan interrupted him. Di Mingju, have you become stronger? Di Mingju stares blankly, then nods his head. Although he has become stronger, his domain and energy fluctuations have become unstable. This time, Di Mingju is really flabbergasted. Mayan can actually sense this. In fact, how could Mayan sense it? It's that restless star domain of hers. Last night, she sneakily took a bite out of Di Mingju's domain. Baidu search, UC Book League website, letting you experience the latest and fastest chapters, all of them updated in seconds. Chapter 2192. It's been a long time since she and her fiancé reunited, but she fainted. But it was also because the star domain was connected to her divine sense, so she knew that this man was clearly stronger than before. But it seems that he's on the verge of a breakthrough, so the energy fluctuations are still unstable. Mayan hooks her arm around Di Mingju's neck and kisses him on the corner of his lips. Her movements are charming and soft, but the words she says make people not know whether to laugh or cry. Hurry up and go back to strengthen your strength. The stronger your domain is, the stronger the energy I can steal. Later, when Xiaobao and I go to the Shoshin continent, we can eat and drink well, don't you think so? Di Mingju knows that she's doing this for his own good, but he still can't help but feel pain and sourness in his heart. Yan Yan, don't you want to be with me day and night? It doesn't matter if the breakthrough is pushed back for another half a year. Mayan doesn't joke this time, but gently shakes her head. Di Mingju, I said that I don't want to be your subordinate, and even more so, I don't want to be your burden. Even if we love each other, I'm still Jun Mayan. I won't become someone else just to accommodate you. You're the same. Saying that, her face slowly raises into a disdainful smile. There will come a day when I will climb to the peak and stand at a height that no one can reach. If you want to be my Jun Mayan's man, you won't be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with me if you're not strong enough. Di Mingju doesn't know whether to laugh or cry as he scrapes her nose. Your ambition isn't small. Can't I? Of course. You can. Di Mingju lowers his head, sucking on those soft lips. The rest of his words are lingering in his charming and gentle thoughts. If Madam stands at the peak, this husband is willing to accompany you at your side. Anytime and anywhere. Serve, Madam. Di Mingju places particular emphasis on the word serve, especially ambiguous. Therefore, even if the kiss was over, that naked aggression and desire still made Mu Yan a little embarrassed and annoyed. Her family's Jun Shangdaren's moral integrity is really getting worse. So much so that every time she fails to tease him, she gets teased instead. It's really boring. After teasing the madam, Jun Shangdaren suddenly remembers something. He calmly says, that Ningdage, drive him far away as soon as possible. Entering his Yanyan's room in the middle of the night and daring to touch Yanyan, he's really tired of living. No, if it wasn't enough to just shock his soul, he would have to wipe out his short-term memories. It would be better to directly shock him into an idiot. Mu Yan quickly pulled him back. That won't do. I'm still waiting for Big Brother Ning to give me the Woodfern token. Di Mingju's expression turned cold. You want to enter the Woodfern secret realm? Mayan nodded. When she saw him frown, she hurriedly said, "Don't try to dissuade me. I must enter the Woodfern's secret realm. There's something inside that I must obtain, and I can only obtain it personally." Di Mingju looks at her with a heavy gaze. "What thing?" Mayan hesitates for a moment. Then she raises her hand and the Tianmo Qin appears in her hand. Two kinds of materials to repair this Qin. All along, Mayan has been using the Tianmo Qin to fight. She rarely hides the existence of the Tianmo Qin. But up until now, apart from Xiao Bao, no one has ever truly known the origin of the Tianmo Qin. From the inherited memories of the Bailey Inlu, she also knows that the Shun musician and the Tianmo Qin are existences that she absolutely cannot expose. Because at that time, the Shun musicians could be said to be the enemy of the entire Xiuxian continent. Perhaps the polar domain was also one of the Shun musicians' enemies. Baidu search for the UC Book League website, allowing you to experience the latest and fastest chapters, all of which are updated in seconds. Chapter 2193. Since she has obtained the inheritance of the Shun musicians, she has enjoyed the benefits that the Shun musicians brought to her. She must take revenge for the Shun musicians' enmity. But this doesn't hinder the feelings between her and Di Mingju. After all, 1,000 years ago, when the Shun musicians were destroyed, Di Mingju wasn't even born yet. Even if he was born, he would probably just be a wimpy kid. Even if there really were people in the polar domain who had enmity with the Shun musicians, they could be singled out and settled individually. At that time, if Di Mingju dares to stop them, he then just changed the golden Bodhi fruit to a vine of thorns. Does anyone still remember what the golden Bodhi fruit is? Therefore, this time, Mu Yan doesn't pay attention to Qi Huang's angry protest in her mind. Just like that, she reveals a part of the Tianmo Qin's secret in front of Di Mingju. Di Mingju stares at the Tianmo Qin in a daze. After a long while, he lets out a long sigh. As Mu Yan is somewhat stunned by his reaction, Di Mingju suddenly pulls her into his arms and deeply kisses her. This little woman in his arms, just like a little fox, but draped in the shell of a hedgehog. She was smart and cautious. Even if the two of them are already in love, even if she's determined to start a family with him and start anew, she still tightly covers her own secrets. The inheritance of the Shun musicians, the Tianmo Qin, who is Xiao Bao's biological father. She has been very careful to hide all of this, not revealing even the slightest bit. Sometimes, when Di Mingju thinks about it, it's not that he doesn't feel depressed and jealous. But there's even more heartache. What kind of injury must a person have suffered? What kind of despairing situation did they fall into, that they would put such a solid hedgehog shell on themselves? She knows the pain of being injured too well, so she doesn't dare to expose her soft inner side. She's afraid of being injured again, and even more afraid of losing her most cherished treasure. However, at this moment, this little fox finally opens her outer shell a little, revealing her inner heart in front of him. Even if it's just a little bit, hidden and tucked away, Di Mingju regards it as a treasure. As for the fact that he already knew that Mu Yan is the Shun musician's successor, Jun Shangdaran is tight-lipped, completely not intending to say it. He thinks that it would be more interesting to wait until the wedding night to settle accounts with his little wife. Mayan is completely unaware that her words have moved Jun Shangdaran so much. She's being kissed until the sky and earth are spinning, and she can't even stand stably. Only then does Di Mingju reluctantly release her. There's a sudden pain on her finger. Mu Yan looks down, only to see Di Mingju putting a silver ring on her ring finger. As soon as the ring was placed on her finger, it automatically pricked a small silver needle, causing a drop of blood to drip from her hand. Blood seeped into the surface of the ring, and the silver ring immediately tightened, fixing itself on her ring finger. Faintly, a layer of strange patterns appeared on the surface of the ring, floating in mid-air. Mu Yan tried to take it off, but found that it didn't move at all. What is this? The Void Spirit Ring. As Di Mingju speaks, he also takes out one for himself, and is about to put it on his ring finger. Seeing this, Mu Yan immediately said, "I'll do it. I'll do it." She remembered Bai Xie saying that when a man and a woman exchanged rings, It meant that they were going to be engaged. Last time on the Three Lives Stone, her cheap father made such a big blunder. Mayan has always felt very sorry for Di Mingju. This time, no matter what, she has to make up for the ceremony. Di Mingju naturally doesn't understand the meaning of exchanging rings for each other. Baidu search, UC Book League website, and let you experience the latest and fastest chapters, all of which are updated in seconds. Chapter 2194. Mu Yen solemnly puts the ring on the ring finger of his left hand. When the void spirit ring tightens, she lowers her head and kisses it. His heart suddenly softens to an unspeakable degree, like it's being soaked in honey. The corners of his mouth unconsciously raised into a faint and gentle smile. It wasn't until the lovers' rings were put on that Mu Yen remembered to ask what the ring was. "Didn't you want to enter the Woodfern secret realm?" Di Mingju asked carelessly. "This ring can change the level of your cultivation in the eyes of others." Mu Yan's eyes widened as she stared unblinkingly at him. Di Mingju was very pleased. "What's so great about the Woodfern token? This ring has the mark I left on it when I entered the Woodfern secret realm. Even the guards wouldn't dare stop you." As soon as he finishes speaking, Mayan is startled and pounces on him. She hugs his face and kisses him heavily. "Di Mingju, I must have saved the Milky Way in my previous life. That's why heaven bestowed you to me." "What Milky Way? And who am I? Which heavens have the gall to bestow this monarch as a gift?" Soft lips kissed him, and a warm, fragrant body pressed against his. The monarch felt that if it was bestowed, then so be it. In any case, he would only bestow it to Yen Yen in this lifetime. In 2 days, the Woodfern secret realm would open, and Di Mingju would be going to the Shoshin continent. But there was something else that gave Mu Yen a headache. "Xiao Bao, stay at the Alcade branch and help Mother comfort the others." "Okay?" Xiao Bao didn't refute Mu Yan's words, but he looked listless. His long eyelashes were stained with crystalline tears. Mu Yan's heart softened at the sight of her baby. But this time, she was going to the Woodfern secret realm to upgrade the Tianmo Qin. As for the Tianmo Qin's second stage advancement, he didn't know what kind of commotion or vision it would cause. He didn't even know if the Tianmo Qin space would collapse and reform again. Xiao Bao hiding in the space wasn't safe, and appearing in the Woodfern secret realm was even more dangerous. Mu Yen still wants to say more, but she sees Di Mingju grabbing Xiao Bao by the collar and lifting him up. He says faintly, "I'll talk to him." With that, he grabbed Xiao Bao and disappeared on the spot. When the two of them reappeared, the originally listless little treasure was like a frosted eggplant, and his little lips were trembling slightly. But when he sees Mayan, he immediately pounces over and tightly hugs her, unwilling to let go. "Nyangqin, Xiao Bao will be obedient. Xiao Bao won't go with you. Xiao Bao has to cultivate properly and become stronger so that he can protect Mother in the future." Mu Yen could hear the reluctance in her son's voice, but there was absolutely no unwillingness. She can't help but wonder what Di Mingju told Xiao Bao in the end. Di Mingju throws Xiao Bao out. Then he scoops up the person and holds him tightly in his arms. Ben Jun will personally tell him that Ben Jun can't go with Yenin. There's nowhere to vent this belly full of anger. He's just a little bastard. What right does he have to be dissatisfied? Mu Yen, "Sure. Jun Shangdarin, you're a good father." Di Mingju takes the person in his arms, but his gaze penetrates the door, looking at the lonely little boy outside. Xiao Bao looks up at the closed wooden door, sparkling tears rolling down his cheeks. But soon, he clenches his small fists, suppressing his disappointment, grievance, and sadness. Baidu search the UC Book League website, let you experience the latest and fastest chapters, all updated in seconds. Chapter 2195. The emotions in her eyes are replaced by tenacity. She turns and walks towards the practice field of the Alcade branch. Di Mingju sighs softly and kisses Mayan's hair. Mayan suddenly says, "Di Mingju, Xiao Bao's cultivation has been stagnant ever since he became a hollow immortal. Even if I refine the Ziyuan pill, it won't solve the problem. Do you have any good ideas?" In fact, Xiaobao isn't even 6 years old yet. Reaching the 4th stage of Hollow Immortal is already an unimaginable talent and strength. But Mayan finds that Xiaobao's cultivation is like a castle in the sky that would shatter at the slightest touch. A 4th stage Hollow Immortal should be at the peak of Golden Core and early Nascent Soul. But in the Shojin continent, he can't use too much immortal chi, so he can't focus on fighting. As a result, Xiaobao's real strength is starting to fall behind the rest of the Xiaoyao sect, not to mention Mayan, who can fight alone. Although Xiaobao is young, his pride is very strong. If he can't become stronger, he will only be a burden to Mayan. One can imagine his sadness and disappointment. Not to mention the self-loathing demon that happened in the Yanwu continent. This thought has been pressing on Mayan's heart like a maggot in a tarsal bone. That's why she has been studying alchemy with her 9th Shifu. She hopes to find a solution to this problem. Dimingju looks down at her and says softly, "There is a way." "What way?" Mayan looks at him anxiously. Dimingju opens his mouth, but swallows his words. "I'll tell you when you come back from the Woodfern's secret realm. Okay?" Even if Dimingju keeps delaying, he has no choice but to leave the Shoshin continent. Although Mayan is reluctant, she is soon attracted by the Woodfern's secret realm. The day before leaving for the Woodfern's secret realm, Ning-Su delivers 3 Woodfern tokens. He seems to have no memory of the night Dimingju appeared, but his keen intuition makes him look around suspiciously. He looks at Mayan with hesitation in his eyes. Of course, Mayan won't expose her man, so she can only play dumb. However, out of the 3 tokens, she only received 2 of them. "Big brother Ning, I already have one. I thank you on behalf of 4th senior sister and little 7. Ning-Su said anxiously, "Are you really going to use the token of the Starry School? That's too dangerous. You'll become a target straight away." Mu Yen smiled faintly and said, "Big brother Ning, I'm planning on going to the Woodfern's secret realm to fight for treasures. Regardless of whether I end up becoming a target or not, I can't avoid danger. Don't worry, I'll protect myself." Ning-Su looked at her deeply for a while, then sighed softly, nodded, and left. Mu Yen always had the illusion that when Ning-Su looked at her, he wasn't looking at her, but through her, at someone else. However, Mu Yen couldn't care less about what Ning-Su was thinking. At this moment, she, Lang Yuma, and Luo Yu were carefully leaving the Alcade branch without making any noise. Fortunately, she had only alerted Ning-Su when she asked Principal Meng for the Woodfern token. Yun Ruhan was still unaware that Mu Yen hadn't given up on the idea of going to the Woodfern's secret realm. Otherwise, the 3 of them would have died from eldest senior brother's nagging. He had even summoned the Demon King Little Uncle Master to suppress them. The 3 of them moved quickly, arriving outside the Alcade branch in the blink of an eye. Chapter 2196. Looking at the lights in the distance, the 3 of them sighed in relief. However, halfway through their exhalation, they heard a gentle voice, "4th brother, junior sister, 7th brother, it's already so late. Are you still going out?" The 3 of them were almost scared out of their wits. 1 Buddha was born, 2 Buddhas ascended to the heavens. Turning around, they found Chu Moli standing beside the Alcade branch's stone tablet, looking at them with a smile. Behind Chu Mo was Qinjiu, who was pushing the wheelchair. Mu Yen and the others looked around and sighed in relief when they didn't see the eldest senior brother. "He, 2nd senior brother, 3rd senior brother, you guys are the best. You definitely won't betray us, right?" Luo Yu smiled, 2 cute dimples appearing on her cheeks. "We just want to go to town to play. We don't want to be scolded by eldest senior brother." Qinjiu nodded. "We won't betray you. I knew 2nd senior brother is the best." Chu Moli smiled. "I heard that the Woodfern's secret realm is on an isolated island. So there's a town there?" Luo Yu shouted, "How did you know we were going?" Before she could finish, Mu Yen covered her mouth. Mu Yen glared at her idiot teammate, who'd been blasted out of the Woodfern's secret realm, and forced a smile. "3rd senior brother, let's not beat around the bush. We're definitely going to the Woodfern's secret realm." Chu Moli's expression became even more relaxed. "I'm afraid eldest senior brother won't agree. Lung Yuma gritted her teeth. Third senior brother. Didn't you say that the materials for painting weren't high enough? Also, if you want to get some arrows, we can give you a portion of what we get from the secret realm. Chu Moli smiled without saying anything. Mu Yen suddenly asked, Third senior brother, do you want the corpses of leaving aperture cultivators? Chu Mo Li's brows immediately relaxed as he leisurely said, Deal. Luo Yu and Lung Yuma were speechless. Damn it! What a pervert! Little junior sister who can keep up with the perverted third senior brother. Do you know how dangerous you are right now? The Woodfern secret realm existed on a nameless island in the Woodfern Sea. However, to reach this nameless island, one couldn't just fly there. The energy fluctuation of this island was very strange. It could counteract the probing of a cultivator's divine sense and spiritual power. It was as if he was forever invisible on the island. Only once every 10 years, when the power of the tides changed, the island would have a different energy fluctuation. And this kind of energy fluctuation was captured by the formation masters from nearly 1,000 years ago. In the Azure Blue Realm and the Purple Cloud Realm, there were a total of 10 great formations. Through the Woodfern token and the teleportation array, he would be able to enter the nameless island. Mu Yen and the other two naturally chose the teleportation portal closest to the Starry School. After a moment of dizziness, the scenery in front of him suddenly changed. What he saw was a vast beach, a boundless blue sea, waves crashing against the rocky beach from time to time, and a lush forest. Hey, there's actually someone coming from the 9th transportation formation this year. Ha ha ha. Could it be that those cowards from the Azure Blue Realm haven't been to the Woodfern secret realm for so long that they've forgotten what hell this place is to them? Now they're here to die. Mu Yen raised her head and saw many pairs of ferocious and lustful eyes looking at them from head to toe. Especially when their gazes landed on Mu Yen, it was as if they wanted to pounce on her and rip her clothes to shreds. Chapter 2197. Lung Yuma and Luo Yu glared at them, ready to dig their eyes out. However, a young man walked over and blocked their path. Did you forget that you're not allowed to fight before entering the Woodfern secret realm? Are you trying to break the rules? Io, the young master of the Qin clan, is just as the rumors say. You're a good, righteous man. The group of brutes laughed mockingly. It's a pity that the Qin clan has fallen. Do you still think you're the young master of the Qin clan? If you want to be a good person, you'll have to see if you're fated to do so. The young man's face was filled with shame, but he bit his lip and didn't say anything. The few savage men laughed out loud, but did not say anything else. Instead, they gave Mu Yen and the other two a deep look. It was as if they were prey that they were looking at. Then they turned and left. The young man turned around and looked at Mu Yen and the others. When he saw that their cultivation bases were only at the first step of the nascent soul realm, he frowned. The Woodfern secret realm isn't a place for ignorant rookies like you to play around in. If you want to live, don't go in when the realm opens. The three idiotic rookies looked at each other. Luo Yu giggled. What's your name, big brother? Thank you for helping us out earlier. As the saying goes, don't slap a smiling face. Not to mention, Luo Yu's smile was only second to little bows. The young man's expression softened. I'm Qin Qingye. How can we not go in when the realm opens? Luo Yu asked curiously. Qin Qingye nodded. As long as you have the Woodfern token, anyone below tribulation can enter the teleportation formation on the island. However, those leaving aperture stage experts would usually only come here before the secret realm closed in order to protect their disciples who had already obtained the treasures. Although it's embarrassing for you to stay here, with so many leaving aperture realm experts around, no one will dare make a move on you. After he finished speaking, he saw that the three people in front of him seemed to be deep in thought, but they did not take his words to heart at all. Do you really think that the Woodfern secret realm is a paradise where you can find treasures anywhere you want? Isn't that the case? Mu Yen asked curiously. Qin Qingye choked. Even if it is, you have to be alive to take it. Not to mention the terrifying demon plants, ferocious beasts, and poisonous swamps. Even humans are in great danger. Those people just now were all at least at the 8th stage of nascent soul. Their first goal in entering the secret realm wasn't to seize the treasure, but to kill. Apart from the disciples of the sects and aristocratic families, they don't dare to touch other rogue cultivators, especially you low-level cultivators from the Azure Blue realm, are all their targets. These people come every time the Woodfern's secret realm opens, and their hands are always stained with blood. Their greatest pleasure in entering the mystic realm is to watch other cultivators cry and beg for mercy, and in the end, die miserably in the cruel slaughter. People usually call these beasts blood-hand jackals. Mu Yan's eyes slightly narrowed, and a cold light seeped out from the bottom of her eyes. Really, no matter where I go, there's this kind of trash and scum. As he spoke, he smiled at Qin Qingye. Thank you for your reminder, young Master Qin. Please take these talismans as a token of my appreciation. Chapter 2198. As he spoke, he stuffed a stack of talismans into Qin Qingye's hands. Hey, you guys! Qin Qingye was completely baffled by their actions. He wanted to say something, but the three of them were already heading deeper into the island. He looked down at the talismans in his hands and sighed. Is it because you brought enough talismans and elixirs that you're so confident? But you should know that these things aren't enough to save lives in the Woodfern secret realm. Even if it was a pill, it might be of little value, not to mention a mere talisman. Qin Qingye wanted to toss the talismans away, but when he thought about the goodwill of others, he put them away in the end. He didn't even look at the talismans carefully. In the lower right corner of the talismans was a faintly discernible image of a zither and a sword. This was the unique symbol of the talisman sold in Laozi's No. 1 store under the heavens. When the image was placed under the sun, it would reflect a faint golden light. This represented the mutated talismans of Laozi's No. 1 store under the heavens. Mu Yan's group casually walked around the nameless island and discovered that 90% of the island's center was surrounded by a huge barrier. The barrier wasn't transparent. It was as if it was shrouded in a layer of fog or a high wall, making it impossible to see what was inside. In just an hour of wandering, the three of them discovered countless experts. Basically, 80% of them were at least at the 8th level of nascent soul, or even 5th or 6th level at the very least. There were also a few people left. They were all at the peak of nascent soul. Some were even higher than that. Even if they just stood there without releasing any spiritual energy, they still gave off the feeling of being crushed by Mount Tai. These were the legendary cultivators who had suppressed their cultivation to the nascent soul stage in order to enter the secret realm. But there wasn't a single first-level nascent soul cultivator like Mu Yan. Mu Yan was also very depressed. Dimingju didn't explain it clearly. He even said that I could change my cultivation at will, but I can only raise it to the lowest level of a realm. Of course, the most important thing was that Mu Yan had brought 2 people with her. The Void Spirit Ring's ability to confuse others was limited. If she only changed Mu Yan's cultivation, she might be able to choose the level at will. But to change the cultivation of 3 people at the same time, the first stage of nascent soul was already the limit. As the 3 of them were strolling around, Mu Yan suddenly felt a chill in his heart, as if he was being stared at by some wild beast. She abruptly turned her head and looked around, but she didn't notice anything. Junior sister, what's wrong? Mu Yan frowned and was about to look in the direction of her intuition when she suddenly heard a girl scream from the other side. Don't come over. Hee, little girl, since you came from the 6th teleportation formation, and the aura of the Woodfern token on you is so weak, there shouldn't be anyone behind you, right? You'll be lonely in the secret realm later. Let us accompany you. The 3 of them looked over. She saw a few more men dressed similarly to the ferocious brawny man who had just provoked her. They were groping a 5th stage nascent soul female cultivator. The lust and greed in their eyes were completely unconcealed. There were also many well-dressed cultivators around the female cultivator. They watched as the female cultivator trembled and cried in panic, but they ignored her. They didn't have any intention of helping her like Qin Yeqing. Chapter 2199. The world of cultivation had always been one where the strong preyed on the weak. It was extremely cruel. In the woodfern's secret realm, the cruelty was magnified countless times over. It was as if the ugliness and greed of human nature had been magnified. There were ferocious beasts and demonic plants all over the secret realm, the ferocious hunters on the surface, and the hateful gazes peeking at him in the dark. Mu Yen narrowed her eyes slightly. Looks like this trip to the mystic realm will not be smooth sailing. Just then, boom, boom, boom. A dull sound rang out across the entire island, and the ground shook violently. Then, a huge gap gradually appeared in the barrier that was originally shrouded in fog. On both sides of the gap, there were two men standing like statues. The man on the left swept his cold gaze over everyone and said, "The woodfern's secret realm is open. Nascent soul cultivators, enter." Whoosh! For a moment, it was as if a boulder had set off 1,000 ripples. Everyone rushed madly toward the woodfern's secret realm. "Woodfern medallion, take it out." The two mystic realm guards checked everyone's tokens one by one. Whether it was the strong or the weak, the male cultivator or the female cultivator, their expressions did not change in the slightest. They were like puppets, until it's Mayan's turn. Mu Yen didn't take out her token like the others did. Instead, she touched the void spirit ring lightly. A silhouette that only the three of them could see appeared in the void. "Mu Yen, can this be used as a pass token?" The two mystic realm guards, who had been expressionless all this while, finally revealed a shocked expression. They slowly looked down at Mayan, opening their mouths as if they want to say something. But in the end, he only said respectfully, "Please enter." This strange phenomenon only lasted for a moment. No one else noticed, but the few male cultivators behind Mu Yen and the others looked at each other in dismay, revealing suspicious expressions. "So, this is the woodfern's secret realm. Oh my God. I didn't believe it when people said that we could pick up treasures just by bending down to pick them up. It's actually true. Look, that's a 5th grade fire pomegranate fruit. It's the best primer for refining fire-type elixirs. Damn, is this green mist grass? That is a top-grade spirit grass used to feed spirit beasts. It can be bought and sold for several pieces of top-grade crystal stones, but here it grows in such a large area. What they saw was a beautiful, tranquil valley. There were many flowers, fruits, and trees. All were at least 5th-grade spirit plants. And the most spectacular was the green mist grass that covered the entire valley. Although the green mist grass was only 4th grade, but with so many of them added together, the value definitely exceeded 1 million crystals. When the three of them entered the woodfern's secret realm, they felt like bumpkins entering a village. They were excited, but at the same time, they didn't know what to do. There were simply too many high-level spirit herbs and spirit medicines, and they didn't know where to start. Furthermore, every cultivator who entered the woodfern's secret realm would be sent to a random location. The three of them were extremely lucky. There was not a single person around the valley they were in. They could easily turn this place upside down. Realm Earth on. Alas, I prepared 3 storage rings and a dozen or so cosmos pouches. I thought it would be enough. But looking at it now, these green mist grass are not enough. Mayan waves her hand. "It's fine. You can dig as much as you want. I've brought more than a dozen storage rings. If it's still not enough, just put it in my space." Luo Yu and Lung Umo were overjoyed. Long live Junior Sister. Chapter 2200. June Mayan. "How dare you put all this trash in here?" Qi Huang was exasperated. "Believe it or not, I'll throw them all out." Mayan sneered. "Qi Xiaohuang, can't you see how poor I am right now? These things can be sold for tens of millions of crystals, but you won't let me put them in? Fine. Give me back all the crystals you owe me." Qi Huang choked, then said unwillingly, "What's so good about picking up this trash? I won't even spare a glance at some 5th and 6th grade elixirs when they're in front of me." June Mayan, shouldn't your top priority be to find the scarlet flame gold and black ironwood? Mayan leisurely nibbled on a snow soul fruit. "What's the hurry? The Woodfern secret realm will only be explored for a month. The entire island is only so big. 1 month is more than enough to turn this place upside down. Or, can you tell me where to find the scarlet flame gold and black ironwood? Qi Huang really shut his mouth this time. He hadn't sensed the aura of the sky demon Zither's restoration materials even though he'd been in the secret realm for a while. Mayan tossed the snow soul fruit away and was about to help Luo Yu and the others dig up the elixirs. But the two pushed her back. Junior sister, rest well? They shoved another snow soul fruit at her. He will do the hard work. 6th senior sister, you just need to put the things back. Mayan laughed and didn't stand on ceremony. She leisurely lay down on the side. Just when the two of them had hollowed out more than half of the valley, a few figures dashed towards them. I finally found you. Several tall and burly male cultivators stood in front of Mayan, looking down at her condescendingly. Their eyes were glued to the void spirit ring on her left hand's ring finger. These were the cultivators who'd followed Mayan when she passed through the Woodfern secret realm's guards. They were the only ones who'd seen the guards' shocked expressions when they saw Mayan's ring. Then, they looked at Mayan with incomparable respect. They guessed that the origin of Mayan's void spirit ring wasn't simple. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that Mayan's cultivation was only at the first stage of nascent soul. With such a low cultivation and such weak strength, he actually had such a treasure. Wasn't he just asking others to snatch it? Therefore, as soon as they entered the mystic realm, they immediately searched everywhere for traces of them. The heavens did not disappoint those who worked hard. They had finally found it. Little girl, I advise you to obediently hand over the ring on your left hand if you don't want to suffer. This way, we might be able to spare your lives. Mu Yen takes a bite of the shuepa fruit and reaches out to look at the ring on her finger. She says unhurriedly, "This won't do. This ring was given to me by my fiancé. I like it very much." Haha, little girl, as the saying goes, a wise man submits to circumstances. If you want to live to see your fiancé, you better listen to him. You should be glad that we're not like those blood-handed jackals. We don't have the hobby of torturing, killing, and raping a delicate beauty like you. But our patience is limited. We want money and you want to live. Let's work together. You're good, I'm good, and we're all good. Don't you agree? Mayan looked at fourth sister and Xiao Qi, who were still busy pulling weeds. They only glanced at them once before ignoring them. Her eyes curved into a faint smile. That's right. Let's work together. You're good, I'm good, and we're all good. Chapter 2201. Since you understand, then hurry up and teach us the ring. Seeing that Mu Yen was willing to compromise, their eyes shone with excitement and greed. Then, they saw the little girl, who was so beautiful that she didn't seem like a mortal, walking towards them with a smile. An hour later, "Bosses, this is freshly roasted wind pheasant chicken. Have a taste." Mu Yen and the other two were leisurely lying under the temporary shelter, eating the delectable spirit fruits and the fragrant pheasant chicken. The male cultivators who wanted to rob Mu Yen earlier were all bruised and swollen. With that appearance, even their own mothers might not be able to recognize them. Half of the male cultivators had taken over Luo Yu and Leng Yuma's work, digging up the spirit herbs in the valley. The other half built a temporary tree shed and carefully waited on him with flattering smiles on their faces. These people came from a third-rate sect in the Purple Cloud Realm, the Green Tooth sect. The Green Tooth sect's strength was considered low in the Purple Cloud Realm. This group of people included almost all the nascent soul cultivators in the sect. The eldest senior brother, Chunda, had already reached the 7th level of nascent soul. But even so, this kind of strength could only be at the bottom of the Woodfern secret realm. If they were not careful, the 6 of them from the Green Tooth sect could be casually crushed to death by others. Therefore, Chunda and the others had always been cautious, not daring to have any ideas on the disciples of the sects or powerful rogue cultivators. With great difficulty, they had their eyes on Mu Yan's 3 first-level nascent soul cultivators. They were wild with joy, thinking that they would be able to hide and wait until the end of the secret realm. who knew that they would kick an iron plate. This first-level nascent soul cultivator, who looked weak and gentle, was too fierce. She alone beat the 6 of them up until they cried for their parents. In the end, the 6 of them were fed golden silkworms. If they resisted, the golden silkworms would spread through their bodies and bite through their organs, making them beg for death. This time, the 6 of them didn't even have the slightest bit of courage to resist. They could only obediently serve these devils. After eating their fill, the entire valley was more or less hollowed out. Mu Yen stretched herself and beckoned Chunda with her finger. Chunda immediately ran over. "Boss, what can I do for you? Have you heard of crimson flame gold and mysterious ghost wood?" Chunda nodded. "Of course. I'm sure everyone who enters the Woodfern secret realm knows about these 2 items. I heard that several sects and families are determined to get their hands on these 2 treasures. Do you know where to find these 2 things?" "Boss, you must be joking. How would a third-rate sect like us know?" Chunda forced a smile and shook his head. However, his expression suddenly stiffened. Boss, you can't be thinking of getting the crimson flame gold and the profound ghost wood, right?" Mu Yen raises her eyebrows. "What? Can't I?" No, boss, don't joke around. Although I don't know the exact location of the Scarlet Blaze Metal and Profound Ghostwood, I'm certain that they're in the center of the Woodfern's secret realm. Every time the secret realm opens, only leaving Aperture Realm cultivators with their cultivation suppressed can enter the center. "Boss, don't go looking for them. Cough." Mu Yen didn't think much of Chunda's words. "Where's the center?" she asked thoughtfully. "Baidu search, UC Book League website, let you experience the latest and fastest chapters, all updated in seconds." Chapter 2202. Chunda looks at her tone. She really wants to snatch the scarlet flame gold and the mysterious ghost wood. He immediately breaks out in cold sweat. But on second thought, he feels baffled. What does it have to do with him that this female devil wants to throw away her life? What is he worried about? He quickly composes himself and says, "It's said to be the most central location, but in fact, no one knows how to get there. Moreover, the gateway to the central core area usually only appears 10 days after the secret territory is opened. Of course, those big sects and families might have already grasped the pattern of the central area's appearance. But this isn't something that small fries like us can know." Mayan stands up and waves her hand. "Since this place has been dug out, let's move on to the next place." Lung Yuma and Luo Yu immediately happily agree, looking eager to try. Chenda and the others look at this valley that looks like it's been invaded by locusts. They can't help but shiver. What is called plucking feathers from wild geese. This is it. A valley with verdant hills and clear waters, rich in spiritual chi, has been dug out by them until not a single blade of grass is left. However, this valley can be considered the most tranquil and peaceful place. The elixirs inside are also of low level, so there aren't many people who come to snatch them. In another place, the high-level elixirs are basically guarded by vicious beasts, and there are greedy cultivators who covet and snatch them at any time. These few youngsters are only at the first level of nascent soul. Can they really run amok? Boom! There's a loud noise, and the 3 rank 8 vicious beasts don't even have the chance to roar before they heavily fall to the ground. Gulp! Chunda and the others all swallow their saliva. They look at each other and see the shock in each other's eyes. So strong. How can these 3 little babies at the first level of nascent soul be so strong? Even if there's only 1 rank 8 vicious beast, the 6 of them would still be battered and exhausted if they joined hands to deal with it. However, 3 class 8 dire beasts were easily taken care of by each of them, and the time taken was at most a quarter of an hour. Kicking away the vicious beast in front of her, Mayan quickly walks over to a small golden plant. Her eyes brighten. Rank 8 Buddha fruit. This is a good thing. Even if it was sold as a spiritual plant, an 8th grade Buddha fruit could be sold for hundreds of thousands of high-grade crystals. Not to mention, the Buddha fruit could be used to refine many supreme grade pills, and the value of these pills was simply immeasurable. And there were 3 8th grade Buddha fruits in front of him. Mu Yen carefully picks the Buddha fruit and puts it into the space. On the other side, Luo Yu and Leng Yuma were already instructing Chunda and the rest to dig out the rank 8 beast's beast core. There are a lot of treasures on the body of a level 8 vicious beast, but the vicious beast's body is too big. Moreover, it's covered in blood and dirt, looking very dirty. Mayan and the other two don't like it. Therefore, he only dug out the most valuable horn, extracted the spine, and extracted the blood from the heart. He then threw the remaining 3 ferocious beast carcasses to Chunda and the rest. Chunda was flattered. These are really for us? Even without its horns and spine, the flesh and blood of a Class 8 dire beast were still very valuable. That's because there's an extremely rich energy inside, and the bones and skin are also excellent materials for refining tools. Mayan waves her hand. If you want it, then take it. Consider it as a reward for your roasted pheasant chicken. Pheasant. Roasted pheasant chicken is not bad? T_T, so this is their use. Chapter 2203. Thank you, boss? Although Chunda and the others look like they have nothing to live for, they are actually very happy in their hearts. In the beginning, they followed Mu Yen and the others because they failed in robbing and were instead coerced. The golden silkworm goo in their bodies made them have no choice but to obey. But now, they are truly willing to follow Mu Yen and listen to her orders. Because there are too many benefits to be gained by following the 3 bosses. In less than 3 days, they have already destroyed the nests of 5 vicious beasts. They have killed more than 20 rank 7 and above vicious beasts, and among them, there is even a vicious beast that has just advanced to rank 9. And Mu Yen has already collected more than a dozen of rank 7 and 8 elixirs. Let alone ordinary rogue cultivators. Even the elite disciples of those aristocratic families and sects don't have such high efficiency. And while the 3 bosses eat meat, Chunda and the others, who are at their beck and call, naturally also drink a lot of soup. The harvest of 3 days is actually greater than the harvest of the disciples of Green Tooth sect in a month. Everyone look carefully. Don't miss out on any clues. When we find the demon beasts, we will go and inform the boss. Hehe. Big brother, we all understand. Don't worry. When we find the vicious beasts and elixirs, the boss will give us more good things when the time comes. Chunda is leading his fellow disciples to look for traces of vicious beasts. Suddenly, a woman's shrill scream comes from not far away. Immediately after, there is the cruel and carefree laughter of several men. Little girl, you think we can't find you by hiding in this remote periphery? Ha ha ha, I've already told you, no prey that has been targeted by us, bloodhand jackals, has ever been able to escape. No, don't come over. I'm begging you to let me go. The female cultivator cries and begs, her voice full of panic. I will give you all the treasures on me. I only beg you to let me go. Treasures? Ha ha ha, to us grandfathers. Only your soft and tender body is the treasure we want the most. Come. Grandfathers can't wait to hear your beautiful screams, to see your skin being peeled off and your scarlet flesh dancing in front of us. Chunda's heart sank. He could tell that these men were the most feared and hated existences in the Woodfern secret realm, the blood-handed jackals. So long as he was caught by them, he would suffer a fate worse than death. Especially the lone female cultivators. On the other hand, the bloodhand jackals usually had very high cultivation levels. Almost every one of them was above the 8th level of nascent soul. Moreover, they had been through hundreds of battles and their hands were stained with blood. They were not people that ordinary sect disciples like them could fight against. Let's go quietly. Don't let anyone make a sound, Chunda whispered to his junior. However, before he could finish speaking, he saw his youngest junior brother, Xu Yong, had a livid expression, and his eyes were filled with rage. Suddenly, he charged forward like a madman. You bunch of beasts! Let go of Xiao Xiao. I won't let you touch her. Oh no! Chunda was shocked. He wanted to stop Xu Yong, but it was too late. Xu Yong, who rushed out, naturally exposed their existence. The muscular men with scars on their faces stared at them with bloodthirsty eyes. Oh, so there are a few mice hiding here. Chapter 2204. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect a rat to be so daring. He actually wants to steal our prey. Not bad, not bad. I was just worried that there was only one girl, and there wasn't enough for all of us. Now that there are a few more, we can finally have fun. Xu Yong from the Green Tooth sect blocked in front of a pretty girl. His legs were trembling, but he refused to step aside. The pretty girl was already in despair. When she saw Xu Yong suddenly rushing out, she was stunned at first, and then her tears fell like rain. Brother Yong, why are you here? She suddenly thought of something and pushed Xu Yong with her small hands. Go, go. They are blood-hand jackals. They won't let you go. Ha 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 ha. You're already here, and you still want to leave? Little girl, are you dreaming? As he spoke, the leader looked at Li Xiuxiu and Xu Yong, who was blocking in front of her. His eyes turned lewdly and cruelly. TSK, TSK. This slut acts like a chaste woman in front of us. Now that we see her little lover, look at her pure and innocent slut. Hee, why don't we dig out this rat's eyes and put them aside? Let him watch how we play with this slut. That's a good idea. What about the others? I don't have enough human skin. I think we should skin them one by one and cook them for lunch. As the blood-hand jackals spoke, they had already decided the miserable fate of Chunda and the others. Chunda's blood was ice-cold. It was as if the scene of him being tortured to death had already appeared before his eyes. He wanted to run, wanted to tell his fellow disciples to run, but his throat seemed to be stuck, and he couldn't make a sound. The blood-handed jackals walked towards Xu Yong and kicked him to the ground. Another person grabbed Li Xiuxiu, who was screaming, and tore her clothes. Their rough hands left bruises on Li Xiuxiu's delicate, snow-white skin. Xu Yong let out a crazy roar and kept struggling, wanting to pounce out. However, his chest was stepped on and he kept vomiting blood. He couldn't move. Seeing his junior brother in such a miserable state, Chanda and the other's eyes turned red. Suddenly, he roared and threw out an explosive talisman. Motherfuckers! I'll fight you to the death! The other members of the Green Tooth sect were roused as well. They attacked the jackals and wolves in a frenzy. However, in the Woodfern secret realm, strength was everything. The blood-hand jackal could easily crush them, who were only at the 5th or 6th level of the nascent soul stage. In just a short while, they were all thrown to the ground. A foot stepped on Chun Da's chest, and the muscular man on top of him let out a ferocious laugh. You want to fight us to the death? Haha, with just a few little mice like you, what right do you have to fight with us? Just because of this? Ah! Chunda let out a blood-curdling scream. His left hand suddenly flew into the air and landed in the hands of the burly man. In Chunda's left hand was an explosion talisman used for mutual destruction. Tisk, TSK, TSK. The little mouse is so pitiful. Even if it wants to perish together, it can only use such a useless method. Although it's a pity to tear off a whole piece of human skin, I've changed my mind. The jackal cackled. How about this? You don't need to skin him. Instead, you'll cut off a human swine and marinate it in a jar. When we find the food bland, we'll cut off a piece to go with it. Chapter 2205. A piece of flesh cut off alive might even bounce a few times in the mouth. It must taste delicious. What do you guys think? The wolves roared with laughter. Chanda and the Green Tooth sect disciples had already given up all hope. Xu Yong vomited blood and fainted. Li Xiuxiu was already pressed down by a certain impatient wolf. No matter how much she screamed, she could only endure the humiliation. The entire forest was filled with the wild laughter of the wolves, as well as miserable howls that seemed to come from the depths of hell. Just as the wolf stepping on Chunda was about to chop off his other hand, a light flashed. That jackal's expression turned cold, and he quickly retreated. Then, a voice as sweet as the sounds of nature drifted over from outside the forest. You want to turn my little brother into a human swine? Have you asked for my opinion? Chun Da's body trembled, and he looked up in a daze. He saw 3 figures slowly walking out of the forest. There was a valiant woman dressed as a man in red, a handsome and cute young man, and a young girl who was so beautiful under the sunlight that it could make one's heart tremble. Each of them was so dazzling, as if they were gods that had descended from the heavens. The blood-handed jackal was startled by the sudden attack. When they realized that it was just a few first-stage nascent soul brats, they immediately relaxed. Which little bastard was it that ambushed me? The wolf, whose hand had almost been cut off, turned to look at Mayan. When he saw her face, he sucked in a breath of cold air. Top quality. Really top quality. He swallowed his saliva. Old lie, Ma Zi. We've been roaming the secret realms for so long. But have we ever seen such a top-quality girl? The two wolves called Old Lie and Ma Zi had their mouths wide open, their faces filled with infatuation. Beautiful, she's too beautiful. How is this a woman? She's practically a demon. This trip to the Woodfern secret realm wasn't in vain. Just playing with a top-quality girl like this is worth it. Ha ha ha. Chanda and the others, who had been shocked and moved by Mayan's appearance, immediately paled. Chanda didn't even care about his broken hand. He shouted, "Boss, hurry up and leave. These people were blood-hand jackals. Run." Chanda and the others know that Mu Yen and the others are very powerful. However, no matter how strong he was no match for the blood-hand jackal. Each of the blood-hand jackals had killed countless people. The fact that they could survive for so long amidst the hatred and fear of others was enough to prove how strong they were. But at least with Boss's strength, if he didn't care about them, he should be able to escape. Trying to escape? The jackals laughed 3 times and rushed over like lightning, surrounding the 3 of them. It's too late to escape now that you've fallen into our trap. The leader, a man with a hooked nose, licked his lips. The best girl is mine. You guys can divide the rest. Ha ha ha, I heard that the taste of beautiful men is much better than those women. I haven't repaid you yet. Give this rabbit brother to me and Ma Zi. So we can only choose this tomboy? TSK. This chick looks hot. But the hotter she is, the more interesting it is. I like it. Ha ha ha. Chanda and the others' eyes were filled with despair, but they were still shouting for them to run with bloody tears on their faces. Chapter 2206. On the other hand, Mayan and the other 2 are still leisurely and carefree, as if they didn't notice the greedy and cruel gazes of the blood-handed jackals. Mu Yen rubs her chin, her gaze faintly turning. Each of them has at least 10 Chenkuan bags. These people should have a lot of good stuff on them. Luo Yu said agitatedly. He can't be worse than those poor bastards from Green Tooth sect. Chanda and the other poor people. Lung Yuma waved the blade in her hand. Her eyes seemed to be burning with flames. Whether or not he is poor, we will know after stripping him. The few blood-handed jackals did not expect that these little fellows would not panic even after being surrounded by them. Instead, they were talking among themselves, completely ignoring them. For a moment, everyone's faces darkened. What the blood-handed jackals wanted to see the most was their prey begging for mercy and suffering in pain. The people they had met in the past were often scared out of their wits upon hearing their names before they could even torture them. They would kneel down and beg for mercy. But what was going on with these people? Oh, that's right. These little bastards were only at the first stage of the nascent soul realm, so they must have been carefully raised by some sect. How could they understand the law of the jungle in the cultivation world? How could they have heard of blood-handed jackals? That was why the ignorant were fearless. But that's good. The more naive and immature a young chick was, the more unbearable it would be when it was tortured, and the terrified and despairing look on its face would make one's heart itch. Just thinking about it made his lower body harden. The hook-nosed blood-hand jackal walks towards Mu Yen, step by step. There's a greedy and blazing light in his eyes, as if he wants to strip her naked. Little girl, you want to strip Grandpa's clothes? Ah, come on. Grandpa has been waiting impatiently for a long time. There are still many good things waiting to be fed to you. The corner of Mayan's mouth hooks up into a shallow smile. Her slender hand reaches out and grabs the lapel on his chest. Under the sunlight, The skin of that hand was as clear as jade, delicate and white. Her slender fingers were slender and beautiful, and the joints of her fingers were almost invisible. It was a stark contrast to the blood-handed jackal's hairy chest. The hook-nosed man swallowed a mouthful of saliva and felt that his lower body was so hard that it hurt. He could not bear it any longer and was about to pounce on this little girl and set the array formation on the spot. Suddenly, hundreds of white lights flashed. It was as if he could hear the sound of the zither raining down on him. An indescribable fear rose in the hook-nosed man's heart, and he quickly flew backwards. Unfortunately, it was still too late. Ah! Countless blood mists exploded from the hook-nosed man's body and scattered in the air. 2 arms and 2 legs flew out along with it. When the hook-nosed man fell from the sky, he was already covered in blood. He had no limbs, no nose, and no ears. A human swine. At the scene, everyone fell into a dead silence. Only the screams of the hook-nosed man reverberated in everyone's ears. You? Who exactly are you? The remaining blood-handed jackals look at the crooked nose that doesn't even resemble a human's. Then look at Mayan. There's no longer any leisurely savagery on their faces. That attack just now was because the hook-nosed man had lost his mind due to his lust, which was why he was ambushed. But even if it was a sneak attack with the hook-nosed man's strength, it was impossible for him to fall into such a miserable state. It could only be said that this girl's strength far surpassed her cultivation level. The speed of that attack just now was so fast that it couldn't be seen with the naked eye. And Chanda and the others are even more dumbfounded. Chapter 2207. They've always known that the several bosses are very strong, but they didn't expect that they would be this strong. Even if they go all out on their side, the Bloodhands jackals wouldn't have the slightest bit of power to resist. In the blink of an eye, the big boss on her own has turned the vicious jackals into human swine. In the end, just how big of a misunderstanding did they have about the boss' strength? Mayan turns her wrist, and the Tianmo chain spins in her palm. The strings make a melodious sound because of this shake. Her peach blossom eyes slightly rise, revealing a charming and languid smile. It's useless for you to know who I am. Luo Yu grins and says, because you're all going to turn into human swine very soon. The Bloodhands jackals' faces twist all of a sudden, anger mixed with fear. I know who they are. Suddenly, Ma Zi, who was among them, let out a cry of surprise. I've seen them in the photographic talismans circulated in Divine Elephant City. They are the winning team of the Deer Cry Banquet, the carefree team. The woman who cut the boss is the famous murderous god monarch Mayan. As soon as this shout comes out, the Bloodhands jackals and the others not only aren't frightened, they look at each other in dismay, revealing an incredulous expression. Isn't the Deer Cry Banquet something that only core formation cultivators can participate in? Moreover, the core formation cultivators who can participate in the Deer Cry Banquet can't be more than 30 years old. In the Shojin continent, where the average age is more than 200 years old, 20 years old is really too young. Ma Zi's face shows a sinister smile. If I remember correctly, the carefree team had not reached the peak of core formation a few months ago. Even if they are evildoers, it's impossible for them to break through the nascent soul stage now. Ha, so the ones standing arrogantly in front of us now are just a few core formation stage ants? They must have used some kind of secret method to change their cultivation, Ma Zi resolutely says, but their real strength is undoubtedly at the core formation stage. The Bloodhands jackals are stunned. At the same time, they have serious doubts about the hook-nosed man's strength. A dignified expert of the 8th level of nascent soul, the Bloody Butcher, was actually cut into human swine by a little core formation girl? Who would believe such a thing? Ha ha ha, a few gold core stage trash actually dare to show off in front of us. I think you've read too many legendary novels. Before he could finish speaking, a burst of flames suddenly soared into the sky, and a sharp saber aura rushed toward him. At the same time, countless puppets descended from the sky. Some of them were as big as Mount Tai, while others were as thin as needles. They drowned the others with an earth-shattering force. The melodious sound of a zither resounded in the forest, and it was accompanied by shrill screams and wails. It seemed extremely strange and terrifying. Chunda and the others shuddered at the same time. They stood at the side and kept quiet out of fear. Just a moment ago, they hated these blood-handed jackals to the bone, but now they felt an inexplicable sympathy for them. Chunda held his broken arm and gulped. I now feel that boss's punishment is too gentle, too lenient. The remaining 5 Green-Tooth sect disciples nodded furiously. The 6 of them had failed to rob Boss June and ended up being enslaved. At first, they complained about how cruel Boss June was and how unlucky they were. But now, it seemed that they weren't unlucky at all. Search UC Book League on Baidu and experience the latest and fastest chapters. All the chapters are updated in seconds. Chapter 2208. Compared to the people in front of them, they were so lucky. The greedy and ferocious blood-handed jackals 15 minutes ago were now reduced to their bare bodies. Now all that was left of them were their bodies. They were placed in a straight line on the grass. In front of them were hands and feet that were raised high up in the air. Each person had 4 limbs, and they were very even. The blood-handed jackals' noses and ears had been cut off, and their bodies were riddled with finger-sized or bowl-sized bloody holes. He kept screaming, begging for mercy, and cursing in anger. Stinking whore. Bitch. Kill us if you can. Kill us, we're an organization. Bitch. If you dare treat us like this, the rest of us won't let you off. I was wrong, I won't do it again. Master June, please spare me. I can't take it anymore. However, these screams didn't seem to reach the 3 people's ears. Luo Yu and Lung Yuma were happily collecting their spoils. Mu Yen sat at the side leisurely, gnawing on the spirit fruit that the Green-Tooth sect members had just picked for her. When the spirit fruit was finished, the spoils were also collected. Only then did the 3 of them look at the jackals on the ground, who looked neither human nor ghost, with smiles on their faces. Because of the bountiful treasures they just collected, they looked at the human jackals with much gentleness. Since they've contributed so many treasures, why don't we give them a quick death? Luo Yu said kindly. Before Mu Yen and Lung Yuma could speak, they heard the hook-nosed man roar angrily. Bitch, bitch, don't be too arrogant. You want me to beg for mercy? No way. Come on. If you have the ability, then come and torture me. See if I, your grandfather, will beg for mercy. Those outside the Woodfern secret realm are only low-level members of the blood-handed jackals. If you dare treat us like this, the higher-level jackals will definitely avenge us. At that time, none of you will be able to escape. We will slaughter the entire Starry School. Bang! Before he could finish, his head was smashed into the ground. Mu Yen condescendingly looks at him, as well as the rest of the Bloody Hands jackals. The smile on her face was bright and beautiful. I used to think that the Blood Hand jackals only liked to torture others, listen to their screams, and cut them into human swine. But I didn't expect you to beg me to torture you. TSK, I didn't expect you guys to be into this too. I was planning to give you guys a quick death, but it seems I was wrong. Since that's the case, we'll fulfill your request. Next, we'll entertain you guys well. We'll definitely make you feel like you're at home, and enjoy yourself so much that you'll forget about your duties. Except for the hook-nosed jackal, the other blood-handed jackals were horrified. We didn't. Don't spout nonsense. We don't like to be tortured, we just want to be relieved. Unfortunately, these people wanted to speak, but they didn't even have the chance to. Because as soon as they opened their mouths, tiny puppets crawled into their mouths and bit off their tongues. And so, in the next hour, the only thing left was their screams, echoing through the forest. Finally, when the blood-handed jackals breathed their last, their hateful gazes weren't directed at Mu Yen, but at the hook-nosed jackal, who was 100 times more miserable than they were. Baidu search for the UC Book League website. allowing you to experience the latest and fastest chapters. Chapter 2209. Even if they reached the Yellow Springs, they'd still have to settle this score. Mu Yen tossed out the golden silkworm goo, and not long after, the corpses were completely devoured. The Green Tooth sect members gulped again. Xiao Yao team's name. I think I heard it from my distant cousin in Azure Blue World. They have a name in Azure Blue World called the Seven Unfettered Demons. And the leader of the Xiao Yao team, Mu Yen, has a title 100 times more resounding than the alluring killing god. What title? She-Devil. The Green Tooth sect members. This title is really fucking fitting. The 6 of them thought that their voices were very soft. But how could Mu Yen not hear them with her current hearing? She became gloomy. What the hell? This title of She-Devil is something that I can't get away with. Luo Yu nodded repeatedly. That's right. Our 6th senior sister is as beautiful as a flower, kind-hearted, and likes to draw pictures of beautiful women. Whenever she has time, she slaps faces and tortures trash. How can she be called a She-Devil? How can a She-Devil display 6th senior sister's strength? You should be called the incarnate She-Devil. Ouch. It hurts. Mu Yen pulled on his face. Lan Xiaoqi, are you itching for a beating? Wuba. Luo Yu's cheeks puffed up, his eyes watery. Lu Sijia. Wuba. Only then did Mu Yen let go of him. Lung Yuma looked at Luo Yu's pitiful appearance, like a bullied little kitten. Suddenly, she tossed the storage ring in her hand that contained the spoils of war. Her eyes lit up as she said, Junior sister, I thought of a good idea to get rich. What idea? The two asked in unison. Lung Yuma's gaze swept over Luo Yu, and she revealed a malicious smile. Rob? Luo Yu was confused. Where? Mu Yan's mind flashed, and her thoughts immediately became clear. She smiled back at Luo Yu, her expression indescribably gentle. Xiao Qi. Whether we can make a fortune in the Woodfern's secret realm will depend on you. Luo Yu felt a chill down her spine, a bad premonition rising in her heart. Above the valley leading to the core region of the Woodfern's secret realm, a group of nascent soul cultivators were flying on their swords. They had just plucked a few rare spirit herbs, killed a few ferocious beasts, and robbed a few weaklings. Now, they were filled with the fruits of victory and were in high spirits as they advanced towards the core area that was filled with even more treasures. Suddenly, someone called out in a low voice, Senior brother. Look, there's a kid by the lake. Is he holding a 9th grade Buddha's Fury Lotus? Everyone lowered their heads to look. Sure enough, he saw a young man of 18 or 19 years of age beside a lake in the valley not far away. The young man was holding a shimmering golden lotus in his hand, and he was looking around with a bewildered expression. She looked lonely, helpless, and pitiful. And the Buddha's Fury Lotus in his hand was so tempting. Gulp! The rank 9 Buddha Fury Lotus is guarded by at least 4 rank 8 ferocious beasts. We don't dare to get close. How did this kid get it? Haha, who cares how he got it? The Buddha's Fury Lotus is ours now. Maybe he got separated from his sect. He's only at the first stage of the nascent soul realm. Haha, a weakling like him actually dares to enter the Woodfern's secret realm. As long as we kill him and take the Buddha's Fury Lotus, no one will know it was us. Chapter 2210. The few of them look at each other, seeing the madness and greed in each other's eyes. Then, without waiting for a discussion, sword light flashes, and several figures whiz towards the youth by the lake. They all want to kill the youth in one strike, never giving him a chance to ask for help. However, at this time, a melodious sound of a zither fills the air. Immediately after, the few of them feel that their spiritual power circulation and movements are all stagnant. Their bodies seem to be caught by an invisible force. Boom! The flaming long sword descends from the sky, raging flames overflowing the sky. Tens of thousands of swords are like torrential rain, covering the sky and covering the sun. There's nowhere to hide. A quarter of an hour later, Lung Yuma looks at the stripped people, shaking her head and clicking her tongue. Really poor. There's only one 8th grade spiritual plant. The rest are all 7th grade. Luo Yu is fuming. I protest. I'll be the bait. Why won't you give me a chance to make a move? Lung Yuma giggles. Little junior brother, you're in charge of being beautiful like a flower. As for the rough work of fighting and killing, just leave it to me and your 6th senior sister. Luo Yu still wants to protest, but she hears Mu Yen putting away the storage ring and saying with a smile that isn't a smile, since Xiao Qi said that I'm a female devil incarnate, if I don't show the appearance of a female devil, wouldn't I be letting down your praise? Luo Yu's face collapses, not daring to make a sound. And the few people lying on the ground, all of them can't believe their eyes. You? Who are you people? Why can 3 first-level nascent soul, no, 2 first-level nascent soul girls, beat them up without the strength to fight back? However, the 3 of them respond to them without any reluctance, and quickly leave. Make a move to a new place. This is the principle that the 3 of them set before taking action. Otherwise, staying in one place for too long. Once their ferocious reputation spreads out, no one would dare to come and rob Luo Yu. Then wouldn't this bait plan fail? This time, the place where they put the bait is in front of the cave of an 8th grade vicious beast. Mu Yen puts a Buddha fruit into Luo Yu's arms, smiling. Xiao Qi, be good. You take this Buddha fruit and stand here. 4th senior sister and I will be behind that stone, don't be afraid. Okay? Luo Yu felt wronged. 6th senior sister. I'm not afraid. But can I not be the bait? The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. He also wanted to be the oriole, not the boring cicada. Mu Yen and Lung Yumo responded with a brilliant smile and a resolute answer. No, Luo Yu. T_T this time. Luo Yu didn't hold the Buddha fruit and pretend to be melancholic and weak. Soon, a group of people descended rapidly. Their original target was the rank 8 savage beast and the Buddha fruit in the cave. Hence, when they landed and saw the Buddha fruit in Luo Yu's hand, their eyes lit up. Luo Yu was surprised to see them, because he was quite familiar with the clothes these people were wearing. The left arm was embroidered with the image of a soaring dragon, and the collar and sleeves were also embroidered with golden cloud patterns. Only students of the Dragon Ascension Academy would wear such clothes. The person in the lead was tall and slender. Although his appearance was ordinary, he had an elegant demeanor. He took a step forward and said with a faint smile, "Hello, little brother. I am Deng Wenxuan of the Dragon Ascension Academy. This Buddha fruit of yours is urgently needed by my junior sister Su Luoi. Could you please part with it and transfer it to us?" Luo Yu blinked. Transfer it to you? How many crystals are you going to pay? These words made them startled. Chapter 22:11. A young man behind Deng Wenxuan said in an unfriendly tone, "Little idiot, are you deaf? Didn't you hear that the goddess Su Luoi wants the Buddha fruit?" Su Luoi? Who was that? Never heard of her? Luo Yu's expression grew even more innocent. But you said it's a transfer. Since it's a transfer, you naturally have to pay for it. Deng Wenxuan stopped his fellow disciples from flying into a rage. Little brother, how much do you intend to sell the Buddha fruit for? Luo Yu thought about it for a moment, then gave a number. Actually, the number he reported was already lower than he'd expected. He'd played the bait so many times, and this was the first time these people hadn't tried to snatch it. He was bored to death, and could only act as a flower vase, so Luo Yu decided to give them a discount. However, everyone's faces, including Deng Wenxuan's, suddenly darkened. Deng Wenxuan laughed coldly. Little brother, it's said that a man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. If you don't know what's good for you, you won't have a good ending. Luo Yu looked at him suspiciously. That's the market price for an 8th grade Buddha fruit. The price I'm offering is already 30% lower than the market price. How could he be called greedy when it was already so cheap? It was simply baffling. Who would have thought that when the people across from him heard his words, they would laugh mockingly? Does this little idiot think that the Woodfern's secret realm is like the spirit medicine stores outside? Haha. Senior Brother Deng, why are you wasting words with this idiot? Junior Sister Sue is still waiting for us to bring the Buddha fruit back. It won't be good to keep her waiting. One of the more hot-tempered ones even started bossing Luo Yu around. Brat, I don't care who you are. In the Woodfern's secret realm, the strong are respected, and those with bigger fists have the final say. We gave you a chance to talk nicely to you just now, but you don't know what's good for you. Don't blame us for being impolite now. I'd advise you to hand over the Buddha fruit immediately. If you do, we might spare your worthless life. Luo Yu sighed softly, his expression a bit bleak. So you're saying you want to rob me? Seeing him like this, the others assumed that this innocent youth had finally learned fear. They all laughed out loud. However, in the next moment, the bleakness on Luo Yu's face turned into pity. There's a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it. There's no door to hell, but you insist on barging in. Why didn't you just obediently buy this Buddha fruit at 70% of the original price? Why did you insist on walking the path of death? TSK. Deng Wenxuan and the others were confused. Someone even mocked. This little idiot must have been scared silly. Now he's full of nonsense. However, before he could finish speaking, the sound of the zither suddenly rose, and the sword light whistled. Not long after, they were stripped down to their underpants, tied up like dumplings and thrown on the ground. Mu Yen and the other two counted the spoils of war this time, and their smiles blossomed like flowers. Luo Yu patted her chest and said with lingering fear, "Holy shit! These people are actually so rich, truly worthy of being Long-Tongue students. Fortunately, they didn't choose to buy the Buddha fruit. Otherwise, we would have lost a lot. However, our relationship with Long-Tongue is quite good. Wouldn't it be bad to just rob Long-Tongue students like this?" Mu Yen condescendingly looked down at the several people on the ground who were tied up like dumplings. She chuckled, "So what if it's Long-Tongues? If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. Those who rob others should naturally be prepared to be robbed by others one day, don't you think so?" Baidu Search, UC Book League website, let you experience the latest and fastest chapters. All updates in seconds. Chapter 22:12. Deng Wenxuan glared at them and roared, "Who the hell are you? Since you know we're from the Soaring Dragon sect, how dare you rob us? Aren't you afraid of leaving the secret territory?" Before he could finish, Lang Yuma stepped on his face and sneered, "So what if we leave the secret territory? Gathering people from the Soaring Dragon sect to beat us up? How embarrassing. We've already beaten up too many people from the Soaring Dragon sect." Deng Wenxuan screamed and wanted to say something, but he heard his companion scream, "Carefree team? You're from the Carefree team. How is this possible? How could you enter the Woodfern's secret territory? Aren't you only at the Golden Core stage?" As soon as the words, "Carefree team," came out, someone screamed in shock. Someone else was at a loss. Who is the Carefree team? What's the Golden Core stage? Senior Brother Deng, you've been traveling with Junior Sister Sue and the others, so you don't know. In this year's Deer Feast, a team from the Azure Blue world rose to prominence. Not only did they defeat all the participating teams, they even defeated the Qilin team of our Soaring Dragon sect. The person who spoke stared at Mayan's devastatingly beautiful face. How could I not recognize her just now? This face, Mayan, the one who defeated Chu Tianyu, the one with godlike support abilities, the fatally beautiful killing god Mayan. Also, his gaze then turned to Luo Yu and Lang Yuma. Raging Flames Blade Lang Yuma. Thousand Hands God Summon Lanlu. Heavens! Why are 3 of the Carefree 7 demons here? Back then, the competition at the Deer Cry banquet was carried out in a mirror. Although they could see every move clearly, they couldn't compare to the cultivator's appearance. Unless one's divine sense was especially strong, the others could only sense the general situation. Moreover, the members of the Carefree team were only at the low level of the Golden Core stage. It was impossible for them to reach the nascent soul stage in a short time. They didn't even think that they would appear in the Woodfern secret territory. The phrase, defeated the Kirin team and Chu Tianyu shocked Deng Wenxuan and the others. Everyone in the Soaring Dragon knew that although Chu Tianyu was only at the Golden Core stage, his strength definitely surpassed most of the original infant stage. Even in the Dragon Ascension Academy, where elites gathered, Chu Tianyu's strength and popularity stood at the peak. This young girl, who looked less than 20 years old, actually defeated Chu Tianyu? For a moment, the expressions on their faces could be described as colorful. Two of them were so excited that they were crying and laughing at the same time. Great God Jun, I'm a supporter of the Xiao Yao team. Sob sob sob. I'm really depressed. I actually robbed my idol. I'm a loyal follower of God Yi. Everyone in Longting knows that Guru Yi has been silently supporting the Carefree team. I actually wanted to attack the person my idol is protecting. I deserve to die. Great gods, please whip us again. We are willing to accept any punishment. Mu Yan, Luo Yu, and Lang Yuma. Wasn't the change in style a little too quick? How could Mu Yan and the others know? The Soaring Dragon sect had held so many Deer Feast events, but none had been as thrilling and full of twists and turns as this one. Baidu search for the UC Book League website and let you experience the latest and fastest chapters. Chapter 22:13. This was especially true of Yiliang Chun, the Lord of 6 Stars who had slain the Dragon Ascension List's 6 stars, and the Qilin team, who won 7 against 10 and never lost, caused an unprecedented wave in Divine Elephant City. The Carefree team and Yap Liangchen might not be famous in other parts of the Ziyun world, but in the Divine Elephant City, especially in the Dragon Soaring Academy, he was definitely a well-known existence. In Dragon Ascension, many people became Yap Liangchens and the Carefree team's die-hard fans. And they were fanatics. Since they were fans of the Carefree team, it would not be good to tie them up like this. Mu Yan had no choice but to let them go. Of course, it was impossible to return the things they stole, but she still left some of the Chenquin bags and storage rings for them. Most of them were so grateful that they shed tears of gratitude. However, when Deng Wenxuan and the other two checked their empty storage rings, their expressions turned indescribably unsightly. The ground suddenly shook slightly. The soles of their shoes seemed to be able to feel the heat coming from below. However, it disappeared in a short moment. Everyone did not take it to heart. Mu Yan, however, frowned slightly. That vibration just now seemed to have changed the spiritual power in the air. What was going on? Was it just an illusion? Junior sister, what's wrong? Lang Yuma saw that her expression was strange and could not help but ask. Mu Yan frowned and said softly, I don't know, but I seem to have a bad feeling. She looked at the level 8 beast cave behind her. I'll go in and take a look, you guys. Before Mu Yan could finish, she saw Deng Wenxuan walking forward. His expression was a little ugly and humiliated. Miss June. There are many spiritual fruits in my storage ring that belong to junior sister Su Luoi. Please return those things to me. Return them to you? Lang Yuma sneered. The sky is not dark yet, and you are already dreaming. When you stole my little Seven's Buddha fruit, are you planning to return it? Luo Yu nibbled on the spiritual fruit and nodded repeatedly. That's right. All of them were inhumane. Seeing that he was weak and easy to bully, they all came to rob him. The key point was that they robbed him, and they were so weak that he did not even have a chance to attack. A bunch of trash. The skin on Deng Wenxuan's face twitched, and his eyes were filled with hatred and anger. However, considering the strength of the trio, he could only swallow his pride and say, Miss June, you have been to the Dragon Ascension, so you should have heard of the name of the goddess of the Dragon Ascension. Su Luoi? Mu Yan unhurriedly interrupts him. Sorry, I've never heard of it. Deng Wenxuan choked. He felt as if a mouthful of blood was stuck in his throat. Grinding his teeth, he continued, even if Chu Tianyu is powerful, he's just a golden core cultivator. But junior sister Sue was a nascent soul cultivator. Furthermore, junior Sue has a leaving aperture realm expert by her side. It won't do you any good to snatch her belongings. Before Mu Yen could say anything, Yiliang Chen's protector had already come over and whispered, "Great God Jun, Su Luoi's strength isn't any weaker than Chu Tianyu. More importantly, junior sister Su has many powerful admirers, and one of them is even at the leaving aperture stage." Deng Wenxuan chuckled, and his face revealed a bit of pride. "I believe that Miss June is a smart person and will know what to do." Mu Yen replied with an "oh" and waved her hand. "It seems that this senior brother Deng doesn't like the storage ring that we returned to him. Let's just snatch it back. In any case, the storage ring is just not enough." Baidu search for UC Book League website and let you experience the latest and fastest chapters, all of which are updated in seconds. Chapter 22:14. Saying that, he doesn't look at her, and directly enters the vicious beast's cave. Deng Wenxuan simply can't believe his ears. "Jun Mayan, you dare!" Luo Yu raises her hand, and a group of puppets rushes straight towards Deng Wenxuan. "Hehe, see if we dare!" Watching as the overwhelming number of puppets overwhelm Deng Wenxuan to the ground and snatch away the storage ring in his hand. Suddenly, a sword light flies over from the horizon, directly piercing through the puppets. Immediately after, more than a dozen flying silhouettes was over and land in front of them. The leader is a beautiful woman dressed in light yellow muslin. At her side, there are more than a dozen male cultivators clustered around her, each of them looking at her with fervent adoration, pity, and protectiveness. Behind them, there were actually cultivators who had just been robbed by Mu Yen and the others. Seeing this beautiful woman appear, Deng Wenxuan immediately lets out a pleasantly surprised voice. "Su apprentice sister." He suddenly points at Luo Yu and the others. "Su apprentice sister, these people stole the spirit fruits that we picked for you, including an 8th grade Buddha fruit." Luo Yu: "Can this guy be any more shameless? Since when did the Buddha fruit become his to pick?" "It's them. Miss Su, these are the people who robbed us. Your soaring dragon must give us justice." Su Luoi's gaze turns to Lang Yuma and Luo Yu. She slightly raises her chin and says in an overbearing tone, "Return everything to everyone, then break one of your arms, and this matter will be considered settled." Lang Yuma holds the long blade in her hand horizontally and sneers, "Oh, here comes a busybody. Goddess Su, why don't you ask why these people's things were robbed?" Luo Yu smiles, revealing 2 cute little dimples. "Because they wanted to rob the treasures in my hands, but their skills were inferior, and they were robbed by us instead." Pfft. A man standing next to Su Luoi can't help but laugh. It's a distinguished and elegant young man. He holds a jade flute in his hand, and his purple robe is spotless, complex, and luxurious, making his whole person exude a bit of nobility. However, his expression was wanton and unrestrained, and he looked like a playboy who liked to play with flowers. However, the moment he spoke, Luo Yu and Lang Yumo, who were just laughing, tensed up their bodies, revealing expressions as if they were facing a great enemy. This man was very strong, very strong. It was probably not something that the two of them could deal with. Su Luoi glared at the purple-clothed man who spoke. "Brother Xiao." The beauty glared at him. She was extremely charming and flirtatious. Xiao Yunchuan's brows immediately relaxed. His eyes seemed to contain autumn waves as he looked at her. But he jokingly said, "Luo Yi, don't be angry. I just feel that what they said is right." Since he had the guts to rob them, he could only admit that his skills were inferior and he was robbed instead. Isn't that right? Xiao Yunchuan's words were obviously approved by many people. Deng Wenxuan and the others revealed a humiliated expression, but they still couldn't help but argue. "But they purposely lured us to rob them. Moreover, they also stole junior sister Su's spirit fruit." Su Luoi sighed softly. "The other spirit fruits are fine, but this Buddha fruit is something that I searched for a long time. It wasn't easy for senior brother Deng and the others to find it for me. I urgently need the Buddha fruit to refine the advancement elixir. Brother Xiao. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.